Good morning, students. I hope you all are fit and fine, right, students? Okay, so very warm good morning to all of you again and again, students. Please, students, pay 100% attention to this online lectures. We are making online lectures for you and pay over 100% attention to making these online videos, right? So, as a students, it is your responsibility to pay 100% attention to this online lectures. So, students, again, good morning to all of you. I hope you all are fit and fine. Okay, so as you all know, students, I am Khushi Gandhi and I am taking your subject Social and English. So, students, in our today's lecture, we are going to solve the exercise part of the chapter number 9, that is the Greek Face Stone part 1. In that, students, we are solve the whole exercise, means in that grammar portion, in that the question answer, all those things we are going to start in this lecture. Before we start, students, I want to give the summary of this chapter, right? Means in this chapter, what we have seen that about the Greek stone face, right? It is about the valleys, right? So in the valleys, that there was one stone that looked like this, that has the likeness like the human face, right? In our previous lecture, students, I already gave the summary of this chapter, and in our previous lecture, students, already we have seen the summary and we have seen the explanation of this chapter. Okay, so students, again, please subscribe our channel, give like to our videos, and please, students, it is mandatory to watch whole video, and according to timetable, students, you have to watch the all videos, like the subject wise videos you have to watch, right, daily, on the daily basis. Okay, students, so now we start the exercise part. Before we start the exercise part, we saw the glossary part of that chapter. So, here it is given the first meaning, that is a resemble. Now, what is the meaning of the resemble, students? Resemble means look like. Something that are similar to each other. It is like a resemble, means the Greek face stone face has look like the human being. So, it is like the resemble. Next, we have the inhabitants. Now, what is the inhabitant? Inhabitant is a noun. So, people living in a certain place. Means, what is our inhabitants? Our inhabitants is the Bhavnagar, because we are living in the Bhavnagar. Next, we have the prophecy. Prophecy is also noun. Now, what is the meaning of the prophecy, students, here? Prophecy is the forecast, predictions. Sometimes we make the prediction for the future. Whenever we are making some usual things for the future that will happen in the future, it is called the prediction. So, here the already meaning of the prophecy is the forecasting the future. Next, we have the perpendicular. Now, perpendicular is the adjective itself. What is the meaning of the perpendicular? Perpendicular means the cliff or the rock face. Now, what is the perpendicular means? The rock, stones. It's called the perpendicular. Here we don't take the meaning in the context of the mathematics, right? Here we don't take perpendicular in the meaning of the maths. Here we are taking the meaning in the language of English. Next, we have the spectators. Spectator is the noun, means a viewer, right? If we are going to see the unity of a statue of unity, that time it's a spectator, means we are going to view all the statue of unity. That's time we are become the viewers, means the spectator. Next, we have the enormous. Now, what is the meaning of the enormous? Enormous means it is the adjective, means the large. The stone face had been very large for the viewer, means a spectator. Means whenever spectator went to near the stone, that time they were not able to see the face of the great face stone. But if they were going too far away from the stone, that time they were able to see the face of the great face stone. Next, we have the pill. Now, what is the meaning of the pill? Pill means happed. Happed means it is also the happed and hipped. Means it is the verb. Next, we have the clustering. Now, what is the clustering? Clustering is the verb, means gathering, right? Where all people were gathered. When we all know where people would gather to see the soldiers, to meet the blood and thunder? Where? We know, at the feast, means at the banquet hall, right? Next we have the benign, right? What is the meaning of the benign? Benign means it is the adjective is kind and gentle. Benign means the person, the honest was very kind and gentle. Next we have the beaming. Now beaming is the verb, means shine, right? Shine means we all know sun shines, right? It means bright colors. So it's called the shining. Next we have the affectionate. Affectionate means it is the adjective means loving, right? Mother itself was loving and very kind. Next we have the pensive. Now what is the meaning of the pensive? Pensive means thoughtful. Ernest was very pensive person. Ernest was very thoughtful person. Next we have the features. Now feature is the noun itself. Noun, and it is a meaning like distinctive or the characteristic part of things. Means features of the we all know what is a feature. Sometimes we want to buy one phone. That time we ask to the seller what features the phone has, right? So it is called the characteristics of the phone. So it is like that same. Next, rumors. Now what is the meaning of the rumors? Rumors itself the noun. Rumors means the gossips. Gossips means sometimes in the class you all doing gossip in the class with your colleagues. So it is called the rumors. Next we have the steed. Now steed means moved, right? Sometimes the meaning is different from another meaning, but their pronouns are different, but their meanings are same. So here it is like the steed means the moved. Next we have the trust. Trust means true. Trust is the verb. It is the past form. So past form of that meaning it is the true. Next we have the labor. Now what is the meaning of the labor? Labor itself noun means verb. Sometimes we are doing labor means it is not a labor means we are not as a worker. So it is like the verb. We have the labor means we have the verb to do. Next we have the sympathies. Now what is the sympathies? Sympathy means the feeling of the sorrow, approval or understanding. Sometimes students, whenever we feel like sad in our life, that time some person is coming to give sympathy to us, right? It is like the feeling to understand someone. Next we have the behind. Behind means so. Sometimes we see something, it is called the so. Now next we have the renown. What is the meaning of the renown, students? Renown means the famous. Great Feastone was very renowned to the people of the different valleys, because the Great Feastone was very famous to the other public of the valleys. Now next we have the banquet. Banquet means the feast. Next, proclaim. Proclaim means said loudly and announced. Whenever we announce something, it is called the proclaim something. Okay, so students, I hope you all clear with the glossary part of that chapter. Now coming to phrases and idioms. Students, you have to write first glossary and phrases, idioms into your fabric. Okay, then you start your exercise part. Next, O2. Now what is the meaning of the O2? O2 means have something for the reason given of something. Means if we are doing something like another things, that time we have reasons for that doing things, right? We are means I am learning my spell book, right? So what is the reason behind it? Because my exams are coming. So it is like that. We have reason for something doing. It's called the O2. Next we have the distinct. Distinct means likely to become. Likely to become means I want to distinct to become a doctor. So it is my dream, right? Next we have the at length. At length means what happened after a long time. After a long time. At length means after a long time. Means I want to give an example that you have your exams at a length. Means after a long time you have your exams. Okay students, so we have completed the glossary and phrase or idioms of that chapter. And students, again I repeat, what is the writer name here? Nathaniel Hawthorne, right? So you have to remember the writer name of that chapter. Now we have the comprehension check. So first we saw the comprehension check, that is the write true or false against each of the following statements. So let's say students, which statement is true and which statement is false. So our first statement, that is the great stone face stood near where Ernest and his mother lived. No, it is not near, right? It is false. It means they could see the great face stone at a far away because the valleys are on the height. That's why. But they were not living too near the great face stone. Next we have the one could clearly distinguish the feature of the stone face only from the distance. Yes, because whenever people were going to near the great face stone, that time they were not able to see the face of the great face stone. But if they were going too far away from the great face stone, that time they were able to see the great face stone, and that time they were able to distinguish the feature of the great face stone. Next we have the students, Ernest loved his mother and helped her in her work. Yes, that is correct. Ernest was very helping person in that chapter. Though not very rich, Gathergold was a skillful merchant. No, it is not a skillful merchant, it is the ruler of that things. Next week, the Gathergold died in poverty and neglect. Yes, Gathergold died because it is one type of rumor. So in that rumors, they given that the Gathergold died in the poverty and neglect. Next we have the great stone face seemed to suggest the Ernest should not fear the general. Yes, at the end we have seen that the voice that is coming from the heart of the Ernest, that please be calm, it will see to you, right? So this is the true statement of that chapter. Okay, so students, we have completed again the true or false of that chapter. So now solve the question answer of this chapter. So our first question is that what was the great stone face? So let's see students what we have to write in this question. So first, the great stone face was a work of nature. It is not a man-made things, right? It is the work of nature. It was formed on the side of a mountain by some huge rocks. And how it was formed? It was formed by the different size of the stones. Next, they had been thrown together in such a position so that when viewed from some distance, they resembled the face of a human face. And they were arranged like that the situation when public were seen from very far place, they were resemble, means they were see the great face stone like means likeness like the as a human face, means resemble like the human face. Next, if the spectator approached too near, means if spectators were going too near the stone, that time they were not able to see the great face stone. There was one condition that the people were seeing it from far away, then and then only they were able to see the great face stone, otherwise not. So next, it was the belief of many people that the valley owed much of its fertility to the kind face of the great stone that was continually looking over it. Means what they think about great face stone, they thought about that it has much of fertility, right? For the great face stone, it has a much fertility to upload these features like in the wells. Okay, so students, next question. What did young Ernest wish when he gazed at it? So, young Ernest gazed at the great stone face. It smiled to him. What Ernest did when Ernest saw the great face stone? That time Ernest did the smile to the great face stone. Ernest wished that it could speak because it looked very kindly. And what Ernest told that it could speak because it looked very kindly. The great face stone looked like a very kind person. He thought its voice must be pleasant. If the look of the great face stone was very kind, then the voice of the great face stone must be very pleasant. Next, he would love the man wherever wore such face. Here the question was to try that what was the story, means what is the story behind the great face stone. So students, we all know what is the story behind it, right? The story attributed to this great face stone was that at some future day a child would be born near there. At some future day what happened, a born near there, and he would be destined to become the greatest and noblest person of his time. And what the child wants to become very noblest person, and his face in the manhood would bear an extent resemble to the great face stone, and the face of that born child like the great face stone. It is the story that is told by her, that is told by his mother, means the earnest mother. Next we have the what gave the people of the valley the idea that the prophecy was about to come true for the first time. So what gave the people, means what is the reason that people think that prophecy it is true or false. Next, there was a rumor in the valley that the great man who would look like a great stone face. There was but rumors spread over the valley, which rumors had appeared at last. The rumor was triggered by the homecoming of Mr. Gathergold, who had left the valley as a young man and made a fortune in a distant seaport. Now it is rumors about the Mr. Gathergold who had left. Gathergold left the valley as a young man, right, and made a fortune. Fortune means the kismet, right? We take the meaning of fortune as a kismet, right? In a distant seaport, his immense wealth prompted the people perceive in him likeness to the great stone face. Means his immense means the thing, right, or wealth, immense wealth from the people like to great face stone. The project or likeness made them also think that the prophecy was about to come true for the first time, because they thought that the Mr. Gathergold crammed all the wealth into the valley as a young man. So that's why the people think that it was the first time that prophecy will come true. Next we have that, did Ornament see Gathergold the likeness of the great stone face? No, Ornament did not see the likeness of the great stone face in Gathergold, right? Because Ornament did not find any similarities between the Gathergold and between the Gathergold and the great face stone. Next we have students, who did he confide in and how was he proved right? Right. So next, Honest confided in his own heart that the Gathergold was not the right person he was waiting for. Means, Honest, till the childhood, he was waiting about the similarities of the great face stone with the one human face, right? But whenever they arrived Gathergold as a likeness to the great face stone, that time Honest was not find any similarities between the Gathergold and the great face stone. That's why he was proved right, because Gathergold died after some time. He was then a poor man. All the people then said that he had no likeness with the great face stone. And after some time, what happened? Mr. Gathergold died because as he was the poor man. And then what happened? People were taught that the similarities and the prophecy was again the wrongness. It becomes the false. Next, what made people believe gentle blood and thunder was their man? Now what is the blood and thunder? We all know blood and thunder, commanders, right? General blood and thunder rose to position of commander from the soldier. Means what happened? First they was soldiers, and after some past years, what happened? They become the commander of chief of the commander. Next, he desired to return to his native valley, and the native valley is the Ernest valley. Means Ernest lived in the valley, so that valley is also the native place for the commander. The residents of the valley say that he bore the likeness of the great stone face, and the people of the valley would think that the likeness of the great face stones was like the commander's face. So that time what happened? His childhood friends also said that the general had always looked like the great stone face, and when Ernest was child, that time their friends were told that the face of the commander made people believe general blood and thunder was their man. So what happened? The people of the valley think that the face of the commander is same as the great face stone. Means they find the face of the great face stone in the commander's face. So next, students, Ernest compared the man's face with the stone face. What did he conclude? After the compare both the face, what Ernest conclude on from that? Ernest compared the face of blood and thunder with the great stone face. He could not find any similarities between them. Just I told you that Ernest was not able to find any similarities between the both face. So his heart assured him that the general was not the right person. So again and again, his heart said that the person, that is the commander, was not the has the face like great face stone. Next, so Ernest conclude that the greatest and noblest man of his time, bearing the resemblance to great stone face, had yet to come. Then again and again, he was having the hope that after some times in the future, the person will come that face has like to the great face stone. Okay students, so now we completed the working with the text part of the chapter number 9. So now coming to the MCQ part of that chapter. Students, you don't have to write MCQ. So let's solve the MCQ part of that chapter. First MCQ is that seen from a distance, hilltops and a huge rock seem to be a very huge, assume various shape, be disappearing, or the last option is to create illusion. So what is the correct answer? Assume various shapes. Like means the great face stone has a face like the human being, so it's called the assume various shapes. Next we have the if a spectator approached near the mountain, what happened? He lost the outline of the great stone face. He could see only a heap of the gigantic rocks built upon the another. He would have a clear view of the great stone face and B, both A, B. So the correct answer is that the both A and B, because first is the he lost the outline of the great face stone. Means if we were going to very close to the great face stone, that time we are not able to see the great face stone face. So next he could see only a heap of the gigantic rocks built one upon the another. Yes. The rocks were settled as one upon one and formed the face like the human beings. Next we have the many people in that valley believed that. What they believed? The stone face was ominous. The stone face changed its features too often. The valleys owe much of its fertility to the great stone face. Yes, they think that the fertility of the great stone face owned by that. Right? That is the correct answer. Next, the prophecy was. What was the prophecy? The prophecy was they might see a man sometimes with exactly such a face like the stone. The valley would turn barren very soon. A prophet would take the birth in the valley soon. No, it is wrong. All the inhabitants of valley would be very prosperous soon. No. The correct answer is that they might see a man sometime with exactly such a face as that the one stone. Sometimes what happens? The face like the face of some people was likeness to the great face stone. So it is the correct answer. Next, Ernest wished that he should live to see a man who was going to come some days. Yes, Ernest wished always till his childhood that he wanted to see the face like the great stone. Right? So it is the correct answer. 6 people to gather good to be the man who was to come someday in valley. According to prophecy, a miracle man who had come to make the inhabitants of the valley. No, it was wrong. They was not. The Mr. Gatherer was not coming to make any prophecy here. A man who performs black magic. None of this three. So what is the answer? That the man who was to come some days in the valley, according to the prophecy, means people of the valley think that the Mr. Gatherer was in the form of the great face stone. Next, the great stone face and become a prophet for Ernest, a teacher for Ernest, a mysterious figure to Ernest, an irritating person for Ernest. Means we have seen that the become a teacher for the earnest to learn the life lesson for the earnest. The general was honored by preparing a great banquet for him, wearing flags, soldiers standing on the guard, and all of this three. Yes, the correct answer is that the all of this three. How preparing a great banquet? Yes, the people were gathered to the banquet hall for the commanders, wearing flags and soldiers standing on a guard. It is the correct answer. Next and last, Ernest could not find the general's face, kind and sympathetic, resembling the great stone face, like the gathered as he had dreamt. Ernest could not find the general's face resembling the great stone face. Yes, because Ernest was not able to find any similarities in between the both face. Okay, so that is the correct answer. So students, now we have completed the question answer of the working with the text, comprehension check, and the MCQ part of this chapter. So next we have to answer the following questions in 2-3 sentences each. So in that students, you have to write question number 1, question number 4, and question number 5. Right? You don't have to write question number 2 and 3. Okay. So students, first question number 1. What is the significance of the great stone face? The stone face was a work of nature. Right? It is like the same that we have just completed in before the MCQ part. So the stone face was a work of nature. It was formed on the perpendicular side of the mountain by rocks. It was formed by the rocks of the mountain. Viewed from the distance, those rocks look like the feature of the human face. Means the look of that rocks like a human, means they resemble like a future human face. People link the stories to that image. Means what people did, means people was assuming the different stories to the great face stone. The people living in the valley believed that someday a great and noble person with the likeness of that face would come. And they think after some times in the future, they was making the prophecy for the future, like at some times one person can come to the valley that face has looked like the great face stone. Next we have students, how did the Gathergold become rich? Gathergold was a young man when he had left his native valley. Gathergold, who was a Gathergold? He was a young man and left his native valley and had settled at a distant seaport. And where he was settled down at the seaport. He had settled there as a shopkeeper. And as a shopkeeper has settled down at the seaport. He had settled there as a shopkeeper. He was very sharp in business matter, and he was very sharp and having very prosperous mind. And that time, and thus become very rich in short span of time. And what happened? He was spending very span of time in his life. Next students, and last, how did the people's opinions change about the Gathergold after his death? Gathergold died, his wealth had disappeared before his death. Means, before his death, what happened? His all wealth and gold were disappeared before his death. Since the melting away of his gold, it had been generally believed that there was no likeness between the ruined merchant and the majestic face upon the mountain. So when the gold of the Gathergold, means the gold of the Mr. Gathergold were melting, that time the people of the valley think that no likeness between the Mr. Gathergold and great face stone, because he was very ruined merchant for the people of the valley. Okay students, so I hope you are clear with that content. Since now students, we are left with the question answers and working with the language and working with the grammar part of this chapter. So we will solve in our next lecture. Till then students, bye-bye all of you, and take care of yourself. Stay at home, and please students, again and again I repeat that please pay your 100% attention to the studies. Okay. Thank